Welcome to LSB Feaster's Radio Air Check and Classic TV channel.
You got a $100 bill broken.
Absolutely.
I need a plain toasted. Oh no, I need like a muffin deal and some fruit, a little fruit and some orange juice. And do you want anything?
No,
do you want anything? What is your name?
No, I'm trying to quit.
Huh? And your name is. Oh, you were here before, right? Phil, I'm so self-absorbed about it.
L-O-J-A-C-K.
Hi, I'm Imus in the morning. And this is WFAN in New York. It is time now for the news, and here with all that stuff is my friend of 23 years, Charles McCord, and to help us with the news.
Yep. This is a thrill for me, by the way.
From ABC News, World News Tonight, he used to be on Nightline. In fact, he was on Nightline the other night.
Mm-hmm.
Because Chris, what's his name? Chris Bury or
Chris Bury?
Not getting it done.
No.
It's not happening.
Oh, good. So you now want me to kind of turn up the waters at ABC. He's fine. He's a fine reporter.
You know something? You're exactly right. That's what he is fine.
Fine. He's a really
fine.
He's just fine.
He's just fine. But other than that, it's not happening. It's not like when. Why do you think they had you on the other night? Because he couldn't get it done. Because Chris couldn't get it done, could he? Well, why are you rolling your eyes?
Because I've never sat in the presence personally of the Antichrist before. So that's why I came out here.
23 years.
On the phone, it dilutes a little bit, but face to face, you get that whole.
Yeah, you do.
Welcome to hell.
Frightening.
Mr. Greenfield is going to help us with the news, try to explain some stuff to us. At 8:10 this morning, we're going to talk with one of the great Americans and a man I dearly love and have enormous respect for.
Joey Buttafuoco's going to be on?
Senator Bob Dole. Who at one time was banned from this program for life, remember?
Yes, I do. But that
he was actually banned into his next life.
Yeah. But that is completely rescinded at this point. Completely rescinded.
Did you see the 60 Minutes piece on him?
Yeah.
Oh, it was
man.
Great. Wonderful piece.
When he was talking about being in a hospital and his father coming to visit him.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a great American. That's a great
moving.
American.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a great American.
Yeah. What is that, I-Man?
That's a great American.
What kind of American?
And the fact that he should be in the same room with people like Joe Biden and Dennis DeConcini is embarrassing.
Unconscionable.
Yes, it is. Thank you. And Don Regal.
I hope you're not being disingenuous.
I will be jumping ugly with you.
That's right.
Did a thesaurus fall on somebody's head here?
Can you two do me a favor and leave me alone?
They've done nothing this morning
No,
except help you. Now don't be jumping on them.
Are you raising your voice?
Absolutely, because I sense something happening here.
There's nothing going to happen.
I sense the I-Man, you know what I mean? Heading for orbit.
I think
I want to bring that in.
You guys should be empowered to find another way out of anger before you become victimized by this, frankly. That's what I'm feeling.
How is Richard Nixon?
He had a stroke. He's not well.
He
is still in critical condition. There has been no change over the past 24 hours, and the prognosis is guarded at best. He's still suffering from the very serious complication, the brain swelling, and so there's no good news at the moment regarding the former president. They say still that the next 2 to 3 days or so will be very critical for the long-term outlook.
I'm at the morning news time, 3 minutes after 8 o'clock here in New York.
Here's the sound of an office with an 800 number.
We have these.
Here's the sound of an office without an 800.
We have these breaks we actually have to hit.
Oh, I know.
So that's what I
heard you in Washington the other day.
There you have it. Proof that an 800 number gets customers calling. And if you've been waiting for a great deal before getting 800 service
you know,
for your business,
they've gotten better.
Order 9X
When you first came on to Washington, it was not a wonderful thing. Now they've got it worked out. So they get back to
We just got our ratings from Boston. Charles.
Boy, that's incredible.
You doing okay up there?
Save even more.
Oh, man. We're third in Boston. It's fifth in New York. Behind Stern and 3 news stations.
9X can arrange 800 service.
Well, considering when 80% of the people listen to radio listen to FM, and we're on AM.
Oh, yeah, and considering 17 snowstorms, so you would anticipate that there would be a considerable audience for the all-news
You've got all these excuses. And remember the day when I had a bad cold and the dog ate your weather report, so that day you have to discount.
A big moot cow set on my homework.
Right. Well, our primary demographic, men, 25-54, we went from a 3 to a 7.6 in a year.
It's fabulous, really. That's startling. That really is.
And people, women, we went from a 1.8 to a 4.5. And women.
It's amazing.
Huh?
You don't have that strong signal.
Did you meet Mr. Greenfield? Bob Bartolomeo from Unistar Jeff Greenfield.
How you doing?
And this is Bob and that's Bill.
They think the status quo.
This is Bill, and that's Bob.
But the world is changing, and our schools.
This is, the C-SPAN video.
Where are the cheerleaders?
Robert.
They are out practicing in the lobby.
In Hartford
It's a live New York thing here, okay?
urge them to support the education
You want
reform
it in?
bill.
Yes, I want to
Your
again
children
quickly.
will qualify for tomorrow's jobs, so that your children can have a real future.
Live from New York, it's Imus in
Time is the morning news time, 5 minutes after the hour here in New York, and that would be 8 o'clock.
Oh, no.
What are you doing?
I'm looking at the op-ed page of the New York Times. Is that okay?
Isn't it?
Yeah, it's
isn't
good
it
radio.
news time here? I mean, what's the deal here? Why?
Yeah, it is.
Well,
Greenfield's here. Have you got a new Greenfield chair?
Yeah, but can we just work on it for a second?
All right. Well then.
Just 1 second.
Well, all right. First, then let's do the news chair for Charles.
News chair.
we did that an hour ago. Why is it necessary
see,
to
here-
repeat it?
And let me ask you a serious question, Mr. Greenfield. Do you find this offensive, these cheerleaders?
Not yet, but I'm hoping.
No, but I mean, this is not like a Howard Stern deal.
No. This is the tasteful. This is sort of the PBS cheer.
This
Exactly.
isn't pandering to television cameras being in here. or
No,
anything.
not at all. Cheerleaders show up every day.
This is to teach Brian Lamb a lesson. Leave me alone. We don't want to be on your dumb C-SPAN.
Hey,
What?
I love Brian Lamb. Brian Lamb is my hero. Brian Lamb has made the promise of television work better than anybody else in the history of the world.
You're pathetic.
Really,
sucking up
butt
to-
out.
But shut up.
Please.
You'll be on, don't
You're
worry.
on the record on this.
Good God. But why are you sucking up to Brian Lamb? What is he going to do for you?
You don't
Nothing.
need to do that.
Interesting.
What?
Do you see the self-revelation we have here? He cannot imagine someone saying nice about somebody without an ulterior motive. You are in serious need of help.
No, but I mean,
I love the guy. C-SPAN is well, certainly your life. You have
yes,
no
but
other life.
I like C-SPAN, but I mean, Brian Lamb is
Is the guy who created it.
I understand it.
That's it.
He does an okay.
That's it. That's the reason I like him. He brought information to millions. He doesn't pay me money.
He's nothing.
He doesn't run an escort
a
service.
zero.
I just like him.
He has
a big
What
cipher.
a
He's
sick
nothing.
person you
But,
are.
No, but I mean,
He
Brian
is-
Lamb is not going to be able to do anything
He
for
is
you.
the quintessential.
You should be
empty
sucking up
suit.
to Rune Arledge or
He
Rick
don't-
Kaplan.
He doesn't get it.
Somebody that counts.
Somebody who has some juice.
You got to move to Washington. You fit that community.
When C-SPAN is reduced to putting this garbage on the
Really?
I mean, come on
And
here.
you're sucking up to
the
Brian
thing,
Lamb.
C-SPAN puts on everything,
That's clear.
and we love them for it.
This is Brian Lamb's dark side. It's like that high school principal who dresses up in women's clothes.
You're absolutely right.
This is Brian Lamb's.
This is the analogy. Perfect.
Exactly.
Sure.
All right, let's have the news chair.
Ready?
Oh, no, come
Set.
on. Oh.
He's Iman's sidekick. He's the best. CHARLES. He's got the news. He doesn't suck. So listen up, 'cause here comes Chuck.
All right.
Go Chuck.
Yeah.
Woo!
What do you think?
What can I do? What can I do?
You know, it's too bad we didn't think of one for Bob Dole. Too bad you couldn't.
Yeah.
How quickly could you work one up? Could you work one up in 2
I made
minutes?
up another one for him. And
You have another one for Greenfield?
yeah.
Let's hear that.
Want to hear it?
Yeah.
All right, wait, hold on. You got something on
By the way, you can purchase these shirts the young women are wearing by calling 1-800-272-1957 in El Paso, Texas, and talking to my
It
brother
doesn't
Fred.
get any worse than this.
Okay, here we go.
We might mess up.
Oh.
All right.
See, that's why I had to fire you before.
Well, you gave me 2 minutes to do it.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, ready? And JEFFREY, he is the apple of our eye. JEFFREY, does ABC man is our guy. I messed up. I do it again?
No,
Somewhere out there, an old English teacher of mine.
we have to go now, but thank you.
Was that
No,
better?
do it again.
Well, I don't think. I think this isn't. What's the matter?
Huh?
What's the matter?
Oh, nothing. Nothing.
well-
I'm nothing.
It's 9 minutes after 8 o'clock.
Be on
We are.
Nightline with a bag over his head.
like the unknown fan they used to have in New Orleans.
The unknown correspondent, Jeff Greenfield.
You know, I'm at that age where I was thinking of changing careers anyway.
Here now, one of the great Americans. We were just talking about him.
Yep.
And here to try to help us understand what's going on, because we talked to Senator Joseph Lieberman earlier this morning, and he's a vigorous supporter of the president, and he doesn't have a clue, but maybe this gentleman does. Senator Bob Dole. Good morning, Senator Dole.
How we doing this morning?
I'm fine. How are you?
Good.
Did you see our cheerleaders here?
Yeah, been watching on C-SPAN. Looks pretty good.
That's about all you can say about it,
I think you don't look near as old as Bernard says you do on.
No, I mean, just considering, I don't think I look that bad. Do you?
I thought you looked great. In fact, if you were worried about getting old, when you come here next week, you coming in?
I'm coming in tomorrow.
I'll introduce you to Strom Thurmond.
Your alumnus.
How have you been?
Been doing very well. Been very busy. Been traveling a lot. Trying to figure out our foreign policy. Keeps you up a lot, too.
Well, I was talking to Joe Lieberman earlier this morning about this new Clinton plan, and I guess it's simple, but I didn't understand it. Do you?
Well, I'm not certain it is a plan. I think the president's got a very tough call here to make, and certainly it's not going to be easy. But I think I'm going to join Senator Lieberman today and offer an amendment on the Senate floor that would, in effect, tell the president we ought to lift the arms embargo, give the Bosnians a chance to defend themselves. We're not going to do anything for them. We at least ought to let them defend themselves. I met yesterday afternoon with the vice president of Bosnia, Mr. Ganic, and he said if they had some anti-tank weapons, they'd be able to repel some of the Serb attacks. All they have are just rifles. They can't repel a tank with a rifle. And it seems to me that we've, in effect, chosen up sides. Bosnia's an independent nation. They're a member of the United Nations. There's no reason for the arms embargo, and it ought to be lifted. And I hope President Clinton will follow through on his campaign promise and do that.
Of course, you've been saying that for some time, but
even in the Bush administration, I've been saying that, so it's not inconsistent. So
is it? This is the question Jim Lair asked somebody last night, and is it this simple? Is it either we get out of there, or we take sides? Obviously, the Muslims, and it becomes another Vietnam. Is it that simple?
I don't think so. My own view is that the Serbs have been the aggressors, and I think the Bush administration failed to recognize it fully and kept sending the wrong signals. And now I think it's a question that we get out or we do something. And if we're not going to do anything, then we at least ought to lift the arms embargo, let the Muslims defend themselves. And that's the same way that Senator Lieberman feels, plus about 85 other senators, Democrats and Republicans. I think the vote the last time was 87-9 to lift the arms embargo. We want to support the president. We know he's got a tough job. I don't think a conference with the Russians is going to accomplish anything. And we've got to keep in mind that every day we wait, they're killing innocent women and children, shelling hospitals. 10 were killed yesterday in the emergency room. The Serbs have certainly not conducted themselves in a way that would indicate they want peace.
Speaking of the Russians, I guess everybody thought they could deliver the Serbs, and I guess NATO and everybody, everybody was counting on that, but I guess that's not the case.
Right, you're correct. They've had their problems. I think some thought the Serbs were in their pocket. They would respond to whatever the Russians had to say. And I think the Russians, again, are trying to interject themselves as a world power. I don't think they are a world power, but if they can be helpful in that part of the world, obviously we want their assistance. But they've taken a tougher stance. I think it's all a result of Zhirinovsky, the crazy guy who got 20-some% of the vote. I think there's a more nationalistic feeling now in the Russian Republic, and that pushes Yeltsin towards a tougher stance. But certainly he doesn't want to get involved in any conflict at this time.
If we lift the arms embargo, then this may be a dumb question, but then does that mean we give them the arms?
I would hope so. In fact, the Vice President said yesterday, Ganic, I said, isn't it too late? What good would it do now to lift the arms embargo? He said, well, it would depend on whether you're willing to give us anti-tank weapons. Of course, then what you've done, in effect, is really we step aside and they go at each other. But at least they would have a chance to defend themselves. They don't believe any of the so-called safe havens will be safe. And I think there's a feeling that after they finish off in Bosnia, Then they'll go after the Croats again, and maybe the 2 million Albanians who are in the province, one of the Serb provinces, or 2 million Albanians in Kosovo. So nobody knows for certain what Mr. Milosevic, who sits in Belgrade, safe and sound, what he means by a greater Serbia. And sooner or later, I think the international community is going to have to respond. It's rather been a dark chapter in international, history, I guess, will show it's been a dark chapter in what could have been, I think, peaceful settlement some months ago.
I talked several months ago about, people talking about analogizing this with the Holocaust, and people saying for 40 or 50 years, never again. And of course, it obviously has happened again. But let me ask you this, Senator Dole: if we give them the weapons, who teaches them how to use them?
Well, I think they wouldn't need much training. I think they're prepared. At least I'm just quoting what the Vice President of Bosnia told me yesterday afternoon in my office about 4 o'clock. In fact, he watched President Clinton on television. I must say, he didn't really understand what the President was saying. He didn't think it was going to be any help. They're desperate. These people are desperate. They've even suggested that we rain bombs on the city itself, in effect to destroy the city, and they're willing to take the risk of multiple deaths. Well, obviously we're not going to do that, but they're in a very desperate situation. And he indicates they wouldn't take much training to learn to deal with an anti-tank weapon. They're at the mercy now of the Serb aggressors, and I don't know what will happen, how long will it take the NATO to respond, or the French or the English or the Russians to participate.
Do you think, though, that in lifting the embargo, giving them the arms and stuff, that then is the first step of getting us involved in something that could eventually lead to what everybody is talking about, another Vietnam, or certainly a war, at least, where we involve American troops? And
I don't think we'll involve American troops. This would simply be lifting the arms embargo. The arms embargo was initially placed on Yugoslavia, and there isn't any Yugoslavia anymore. And it seems to me that's an illegal embargo. Under the UN Charter, countries have a right to self-defense, and they are an independent nation. Airstrikes, there's a lot of discussion about airstrikes, whether they can be effective, whether at this point they really do any good. But maybe you could hit, there are a lot of targets around. They're not close to Gorazde that would send a strong signal to the Serbs. Now, the President indicates he's prepared to do that. And if he's prepared to do that based on the best information, I think he would have a fair support in Congress. He'd have to first prepare the American people and let the American people know what our national interest was. But we'll see what happens. It's not a very bright spot the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, in talking to both you and Senator Lieberman, you both sound almost bewildered by this whole thing, and I guess everybody is. What happens, though, then, if we make the fight even, if we give them the arms and stuff, and what happens then if ultimately that doesn't work? What do we do then?
Well, I think we have to first take it one step at a time. I don't mean we go down the slippery slope one step at a time. But we've got to keep in mind, Serbia is not a major power. They're a third or fourth-rate nation. I hear commentators and others on the Senate floor, you'd think Serbia was the former Soviet Union. They're not. They don't have the weapons. They don't have the men. The Muslims actually are, in time will be a match for the Serbs if they had the weapons. It's like the slingshot story against the weapon. And their view is that once the Serbs understand they're going to be armed, that they'll be running to the peace table. So, I don't know for certain. I wish I did, because it's certainly every day is more suffering, more death, and nobody knows, nobody has an answer. But the longer we wait, the more difficult it's going to become.
Well, there's a report this morning rolled on the wires about North Korea having the ability here in the next, I guess it was the next few days, to build 5 nuclear bombs. So that looms almost as large as this, doesn't it?
And of course they deny that, but I think Secretary Perry, who I find to be a fairly responsible person, a good choice for Secretary of Defense. I don't think he'd be out saying that if he didn't have some pretty good evidence. Mm-hmm. So that's another hot spot. It all gets back, I think, Donna, we've got to be careful of how quickly we cut defense spending. We know we're going to cut defense spending. But if we just take a look at the trouble spots around the world, we better go slow. Some of us World War II veterans are getting ready to go back to Normandy and Italy to celebrate a 50th anniversary. And I hope when we're there, we're able to hold our head up and say that we're strong and we're proud to be Americans because we've done the right thing. And if we're going to get in a position where we don't, aren't able to carry out our responsibilities, we're going to be in real trouble.
Do you think a part of all of this reluctance on the part of the administration to really define any kind of cohesive policy for the past, since they've been in office, has as much to do with them really wanting to, to address the domestic agenda and health care and those kinds of things, and the president, the administration continuing to think that the American people didn't care anything about this?
I think it's the latter.
Oh, you do?
My own view is, in fact, there was a piece in the Washington Post that Clinton's doing just about what the American people want to do. Well, that's not the response. I mean, without American leadership, very little is going to happen around the world. And whether we like it or not, we have the burden of leadership. We are the most powerful nation in the world. And I don't suggest that means we get in every dogfight around the world. But certainly in something like the present situation in Bosnia, it cries out for leadership. NATO cries out for leadership. We don't want the United Nations directing what we do. They may have some role to play, but so I think President Clinton is going to have to demonstrate sooner or later that he's prepared mentally, intellectually, every way to carry out what he has to do and take the risk. Leaders don't wait for polls sometimes. Sometimes you have to set the pace and not wait for some response from a Gallup or some kind of a survey.
Yeah, I remember USA Today. They thought it was embarrassing. This was some time ago when Warren Christopher was over there asking the NATO allies what they thought, and nobody could ever remember when anybody cared what they thought. Right. I don't know whether that's the case or not, but I mean, when they did exactly what you said, when America set the tone, and NATO pretty much fell in line and did look to us for leadership.
Well, I think the president, when he exerted leadership in Sarajevo, when he indicated that we were going to exert leadership, the Serbs did slow down, and some of the people in that ravaged city their lives were spared. So I want to support the president. That's my view. I think the president of the United States in foreign policy matters, Democrat or Republican, ought to have the support unless he's clearly off base. So we're urging the president to do what he suggested he might do a couple of years ago before he became president. Not to do it recklessly. If circumstances have changed, obviously that would make a difference. But this is one senator who's going to put politics aside. If the president tells me that it's in our interest and he's ready to do what is necessary, then he won't hear anything from me.
I mean, if you and Joe Lieberman can get together on anything, I think that's significant in itself.
Well, we're going to be we get along on a lot of things. We work together a lot of things in foreign policy. Joe Lieberman is a very strong person on foreign policy. He's got good, sound views, and that's one reason he had a election victory 6 years ago, because he felt strongly about national defense and strongly about security issues. So he does a very good job in that area.
Are you going to be at this is kind of a clumsy segue, but no other way to make it. Are you going to be at that White House Correspondents' Dinner?
No, I've given my proxy to Elizabeth, and she's going to go.
Well, she is.
I'm going to be in Oklahoma. We've got a special congressional race out there, but my wife will be there. And are you going to be there? Or are you going to be alone or with someone?
Well, I'm going to be with someone. I told you I was going to get married today.
I know. Yeah, that's great. I think George Mitchell took a cue from you, and he's going to get married too now. Senator Mitchell, the majority leader, announced his engagement a couple of days ago.
Well, James Carville said I should, because there is an age disparity between me and this young woman. James Carville just told me that I should refer to her as my niece when I'm in town.
Put her on your shoulders.
I don't think an age disparity. I don't know what the age disparity is, but I don't see any problem with
that. Well, I'm going to consider that a validation of this whole relationship. Senator Dole, thanks very much. Thanks for taking the time to come on.
Hope you have a chance to come by I know you're going to be very busy on Friday. If not, maybe you can come by the next time, because I'd like to talk to you about, I don't have a Mustang, but I've got an 87 Chevy Celebrity, and I wanted to see maybe Fred couldn't help me out on that.
Well, I think you probably can. You mean I could come by and hang out in your office and stuff?
Oh, sure.
Oh, man, how great would that be?
Great. Oh, that'd be fantastic.
We can make calls and all that stuff.
Make calls. Maybe we can get on a talk show somewhere.
Senator Dole, thank you very much.
Okay.
Senator Robert Dole here on the My Vista Morning program. Yeah. Not to patronize him, but one of the just a great American.
Very admirable man, yep.
Does any of that make any sense to you, Greenfield?
Well, what makes sense is that I think there is, you can feel the cloud coming in Washington where not just his political opponents, but the town itself is beginning to look at Clinton's foreign policy more and more critically. You just have the feeling among the press, I don't mean the columnists, I mean just the straight reporting press, that he's now being talked about almost in terms of a little bit of contempt. Not just that his foreign policy is wrong, he doesn't have one, they don't know what they're doing, it's amateur night. And that's the kind of feeling that when it crystallizes in Washington, it begins to color everything, the Sunday talk shows, the people on the talk shows. Instead of saying, well, I wonder what the president should do, we're now saying, well, they're kids. He doesn't care about foreign policy, and he's not a grown-up. I think now that Whitewater is in remission, that's the biggest problem Clinton has, because when people start feeling you're not up to snuff on foreign policy, we're not talking now about whether the tax program is wrong.
Yeah.
This is literally life and death, and that's a real danger. That happened to Carter by 1980 with the hostages. People felt he just couldn't cut the mustard. And given the fact that I think it's true that this president was elected by a country that didn't want any more foreign policy.
Right.
Now the Soviet Union was dead. Now we can come home and address our issues. And I think you hear that when the president talks about a domestic policy, it's much more solid and strong because he knows where he's at. When he talks about foreign policy, particularly in an area like this where there is no good answer, you get a sense that he's very, very vulnerable. And that's pretty much what I picked up. You didn't really hear in anybody today a conviction that what they want to do is going to fix this.
No, I didn't. As I said, they all sound bewildered.
So what do you because the real story here is 500 years of tribal hostility that was suppressed by Marshal Tito.
Why don't we kill them all?
What do you mean, by the way? Just
what
ethnically cleanse the Balkans entirely?
Yeah,
is that what you're talking about?
Just kill everybody.
Well, that's a very
the old
smart
joke, kill them all, let God
sort them out.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Well, they may handle that themselves.
There actually may be something funny occur on this program. I don't know when that will be, but...
You pull your pants down, maybe.
I don't need that from you. It's 26 after the hour here in New York, and I am Imus in the morning. Strom Thurmond, speaking of him, is filling in here for the ailing Richard Nixon, who has appeared on this program for 20 years.
In the capacity of senior political analyst.
I don't know whose decision it was to pick someone 92 years of age.
Good thinking for long-term comic hits, huh?
Yes.
I mean, you got a 46-year-old vice president, you got a 47-year-old president, right?
And you
pick a 90-year-old man with okra growing out of his head.
Tell me over and over again, my friend, you don't believe we're on the eve of destruction.
Imus in the morning.
I hate this traffic. Come on, will you?
We're going to be late for work this morning.
Do you think the Republicans don't know the political advantage the young Democratic president?
What do you think about that loyalty versus no question, you're better off with loyalty. I know.
We've got to get some yucks on this thing here.
Well, that's what I thought I was doing out here, but I was in the car. Thank you for sending the car. It's a nice, modest.
Well, that was okay, wasn't it, Charles?
Yeah.
Huh? Sure.
But if you want to talk about Bosnia, you're not going to get serious. You're not.
With the latest.
Give me some coffee, Stephanie.
From a ham radio operator there, just in, the hell in Garajda continues with what he describes as a rain of shells. Almost as though that is a response to Mr. Clinton's
I mean, if you want
news conference
I would seriously suggest, the president on MTV was really funny.
One high-tech piece of equipment can recognize an image at 50 yards, stores 70 years of memory, has 100 billion working parts. but weighs less than 3 pounds.
Is this the first stop
The
set?
answer, the human brain.
Until recently,
He was good, though, didn't you think, Bernie?
the brain made it difficult to
Good
understand
as
why people
always.
experience neurological
God bless Senator Dole.
Yeah, I like him a lot.
sleep disorders.
We could talk about how much you would have to pay me to go to the Barbra Streisand
At
concert.
New Jersey's Neuroscience Institute.
Is there a figure?
I had Joe Queen on one of these pilots that we taped for the
Yeah.
new show. He was
He's a
Brad
fabulous,
is
isn't he?
holding, and Rob is holding to be Howard.
Diagnosis and treatment of
I'm out of here in about 20 minutes, okay?
including both non-invasive and
All right.
I can stay another like 20 minutes if you'd like.
321.
Yeah, well, that's what we planned.
Yeah, okay. I just wanted to know.
You need to leave at what time?
A little before 9.
For balance disorders,
Say 30 now.
Huh?
10 of 9, something like that.
epilepsy, stroke, and other brain-related conditions.
Now there's hope for someone who
Greenfield's putting pressure on us, though.
321-7956.
What is it, what's up, me?
Oh, no.
This man's gratitude knows no bounds, you know? It's unbelievable.
We appreciate it.
No, I normally wander out to a story at 7:30 in the
Let's
morning.
talk a little bit about world news tonight. You want to check how it's going over there?
Certainly.
It's more than personal charm.
Yeah, I'll stir up some trouble on that. See, look at this cartoon in USA Today. Clinton looks at foreign policy. It's exactly once, you know.
When does this, if he is seen as increasingly incompetent or just basically fundamentally incompetent in that area, when does that start to spill over into all these other things that he is trying to do domestically?
Give me the Imus and Butthead Clinton on
Well.
MTV out of this, okay?
The answer, you want a firm answer? It depends. Because I still think if the economy chugs along and people think that this
And then
guy
let's do Rush
is
Limbaugh.
getting stuff done, they're going to forgive him a lot.
Yeah.
We ignore an awful lot of horrible things in the world.
Oh, absolutely. Sure.
That's the other thing.
Yeah.
About 30 of these things going on.
44, I believe, at last
Where
count.
people aren't this color and closer to you.
Yeah.
And I understand you have a major in the big day's almost here. Should I call
So,
the mayor?
we'll see.
But this Saturday and Sunday, CompUSA is open.
God, I'm sorry I'm not going to the White House Correspondents' Dinner right now. I'm really sorry.
Deals at all tri-state area.
We should go bring that again, too.
One of the first 50 shoppers this Saturday and Sunday at any CompUSA. And when you buy a complete...
How long was it? About 15 minutes, wasn't it?
KXP 1150 printer.
Yeah, but
$100 off any printer.
You're
Or
mumbling.
one box of 3M or Sony diskettes. You'll get another box free. Plus, register to win a Mazda Miata and lots more.
So the Imus and Butthead out of Eileen. Then we'll talk to Greenfield for a couple of minutes. Then we'll do Rush. And Greenfield putting pressure on us. He has to leave at about 10 till.
Eileen's next.
I just thought I'd stand outside City Hall and yell.
It's always interesting to see how he processes information.
Well, he has nowhere to go, by the way.
Processor from 9 a.m. until 4 p.m.
There's nowhere to go.
Of course not. For details.
We're getting Greenfield putting pressure on us here.
What's that all about?
Well,
You see how he's working this
Anyway, it's time now for the 9X Mobile Fan Highway Patrol. And here with all that stuff is Miley Marchese Cohen. Good morning, Mrs. Cohen.
Good morning, Mr. Imus. This report sponsored by the New York Times. If you want Pulitzer Prize-winning coverage of the metro area, you want the New York Times. No comics, no gossip, just the best metro coverage in New York. And we do have trouble in Queens on the eastbound Interborough Parkway. We have police activity at Metropolitan Avenue. As a result, very heavy rubbernecking from the westbound... Cut it out. Hey, what a shot. Anyway, we have very heavy rubbernecking from the Kew Gardens interchange and also delays on the westbound Grand Central as a result. Northbound West Side Highway extra slow, 50s to the 70s. Watch out for a problem with the movable barrier machines. And Westchester County bound Tappan Zee Bridge very slow with a stall in the right lane on the Rockland side. Inbound Lincoln 30 minutes, 20 at the Holland, 20 at the George Washington Bridge. The upper deck, your best bet. An alternate side is in effect citywide. I'm Eileen Marchese Cohen for the 9X Mobile Fan Highway Patrol.
Check it out. It's the new Meatloaf video.
You ass munch. That's not Meatloaf. That's the president.
Oh, I thought Meatloaf had cut his hair and gained weight.
Yeah, he's gained the weight of the world on his shoulders.
Why is he on MTV?
I don't know. I think this is Bill Clinton unplugged.
Cool. Is he gonna sing that song about that chick? Layla!
Nah, he's answering questions from teens concerned about violence in America. You know, to show how interested and involved he is with the youth of today.
What's the matter with violence? Violence is cool.
They certainly seem to enjoy it in Singapore.
Yeah. You spray paint Malaysia socks on a couple of cars and right away they beat your ass with sticks.
Yeah, and they revive you after every smack. That's cool.
Hey, rich American teen dude, wake up. here's another one.
Excuse me, but, could I pass out now? My butt is bleeding.
This Clinton violence thing sucks.
Yeah, I think I'm, gonna get violently sick.
Bring out Tabitha Soren and the Gore Chicks.
Yeah, and then we'll, make them get naked, and then we'll spray paint graffiti on them.
No, wait, dude. I don't want anybody to pull down my pants and hit my butt with a stick.
You're such a loser.
So, why don't you kill me?
Okay.
How come we haven't seen the Gore daughters, by the way?
I don't
Not
know.
That, I'm just kind of curious.
I don't know.
They could be our cheerleaders.
Sure they could.
So Jeff Greenfield from ABC News is here. Is already putting pressure on us that he has to leave. Well, you have nowhere to go, do you?
That special at McDonald's is over at 9 o'clock.
No, I actually, you're right. What I really want to do is about 3 times a week drive out here at 6:30 in the morning and hang around until 10 o'clock watching you eat.
Well, no, I had a muffin, honest to God. I weigh 160 pounds.
No, I just mean that, it's kind of like being back in 7th grade, spitballs at the traffic reporter. And I keep thinking somewhere out there are people who might have a modicum of respect for the 20 years I put in covering politics, and now it's gone.
No, we have not.
New York Minute.
How are you being demeaned or anything or at all at this?
Cheerleaders at 8 o'clock in the morning?
Well, I thought it was tastefully done.
Yeah, well, considering what it could have been, you're right.
Coming up on this hideous Imus in the Morning program, Rush Limbaugh, Howard Stern, and my brother Fred Imus live from El Paso, Texas. How are things at World News tonight?
They're still chugging along.
With Peter Jennings.
We are solid number 1 in the ratings.
You have a new executive producer, I understand.
Your old buddy Rick Kaplan.
Big feature on him in the Washington Post.
Yeah. Rick is in every way larger than life. He is a man of unbelievable energy, and he is a man of unbelievable talent. And as they said in the paper, when Rick gets perturbed about something, it is not in pastel shades. There's still paint peeling off the wall from a couple of those incidents. So he's brought a lot of...
So he reduces helpless little office minions to racking sobs with these violent outbursts. Is that essentially what he does?
Mm-hmm. I guess we wouldn't know anything about that, would we?
Imagine working in those conditions.
Wonder who's influenced him.
Amazing.
The most embarrassing aspect of the whole Rick Kaplan piece in the Washington Post was the hideous physical shape he's in. As the guy is 6 feet.
Did you see that?
He's 6'7", and he had this huge
thing,
this fat blubber thing hanging over his belt.
Yeah.
He just looked.
He looked.
Well, now didn't we have a problem with Chroma Keen, Cokie Roberts in front of someplace where she wasn't?
Yeah, I know that there's no reason you should remember this or anything, given your current state, but we did talk about this. Yeah, they had a last-minute thing where they were putting Cokie on live with 3 minutes to go. And
how much of the news do you guys actually make up over there, or is it all?
No, this was a. I'm just going to finish this for some unearthly reason. I'm going to try to be responsive to the question because I'm an idiot.
Is that footage
from? Mistake because they didn't want to coming out of a studio, so they said, well, there's a picture of the Capitol, and that looks stupid, so put on a coat. And 3 minutes later. You've been in these situations, haven't you, where you've looked up and said, I may have made a mistake in what I just did?
No.
Oh. Well, anyway, I guess I read the wrong probation report.
I haven't ever been in a position where I was responsible for an evening news broadcast.
You could just put this period right there. I've never been in a situation where I was responsible.
I've never been put in a position where I was responsible for reporting the news.
Could I make him say regularly?
To the American public, unencumbered by chicanery.
Yeah. Is that footage from Serbia or from the Dirty Dozen? Or something?
Well, how are we? All right,
it was a mistake. Everybody said it was a mistake. Then we moved on. Jennings is, I think, going to South Africa tomorrow to report on the
but how do we know that how do we know that Peter Jennings is going to be in South Africa?
Certainly.
How do we don't know that you and Rick Kaplan and Peter Jennings have cooked up some bogus Bronx Zoo? Bronx Zoo jive. How do we know he won't be out there?
Get the polygrip.
How do we know he won't be at Adventureland?
We don't.
How's he doing, by the way, Peter Jennings?
He seems fine. He's last night was a night. If you were interested in journalism, I don't know why I'm speaking to anybody in this room, because they were ginning up a 10 o'clock special, 1 hour special, in case Richard Nixon passed away before 10 o'clock, and not knowing what the situation was. All hands on deck. Nightline was furiously cranking out a new show, and then you sit there and you wait with one eye on the
hoping that the former president.
Quite the contrary.
Yes. Okay.
No, on logistical grounds alone. If the president, if big news breaks at like 9:40, and you've got to come on with a 1-hour special with 20 minutes preparation, it's no problem for you, because, you know, what's the difference?
How's Peter Jennings' personal life?
I have no idea. I don't ask. It's none of my business. It's none of your business.
No, but I just like, you know.
Any new interns in his life?
No, just
you guys are projecting, you know.
How are you? How's your life?
Fine. First anniversary is this weekend. We're going to celebrate. Going down for a long weekend in Florida, which means I can't be at the White House Correspondents' Dinner to watch you get sucked up to by the movers and shakers. I want tape of this.
Now this is marriage number
2.
2 for you, right?
Yes, that's correct.
2, that's all?
That's it. That's it. 2 and the last.
2 and counting.
2 and the last.
Well,
she is, however, Karen, as you know, having met her, is age appropriate. When we watch television, we watch the news, or we watch NYPD Blue. We don't watch Barney together.
You don't take her out to see Thumbelina.
Deidre is 30 years of age.
And you are?
53.
And therefore, simple subtraction suggests that the age gap is
a quarter of a century.
Right. People are old enough to be in the Congress who are the difference between you and Deidre. And I think it's great. I'm really happy about this.
How can I help it if this woman fell in love with me? What was I supposed to do? Say, get away from me?
Look, I think it's great, because who else would you have left your money to?
Well,
the Home for the Twisted. I mean, does Show World take, Will? So this is great. I'm happy for you. There's no reason why anybody should make fun of you. You have found someone you care about deeply.
Yes.
Yes, let's call in 6 months.
Fred Imus, Rush Limbaugh, and Howard Stern all coming up.
It was always so easy to find an unhappy woman till I started looking for mine.
Imus in the morning.
Dennis Miller on Guns in America.
Yeah, that was good. I mean,
You're trying to get some lift to this thing, right? You didn't want to talk about Bosnia again, did you? So what's with our team here? Huh? What's your deep, in-depth analysis of this?
I actually think they're going to be okay. They lost interest.
This is the second stop set?
They lost interest in the regular season. And then when some big games come up, they just couldn't flip the switch on.
Did you think it was pretty good?
Absolutely, yes.
Or do you have a Rush flashback you would rather do? Or?
Someone said to you,
Where's the fire?
We need to get this on.
this is not my turn.
Which line is Fred on?
Only 6 lines. Line to your right.
Ridiculous.
Hey, how are you? You watching?
He's,
You are? How is
the
it?
center position is the hardest position to dominate. People compare, he's no Jordan, he's no Bird.
Oh, you are?
But the center position, you can easily take that away. The guy's
Yeah, we're going to do this.
Easiest position
Rush Limbaugh thing
double
and
team
something else.
and to shut down.
So you think
He's never had the guys next to him that can really, when he's completely shut down, pick it up.
Oh, we'll put him. So you think it looks good? And they're taking the line feed, aren't they?
But I think they'll be all right. Although there's stuff in the paper, Mason's like,
No, but what I meant was you can hear the bit.
Yeah, I can really understand that. If I were getting paid $4 million a year to play basketball,
there's not a lot of just me talking in the studio, has there?
Whatever. I'd really have a lot of
you can feel sympathy for it.
But it's
you'll have to put Fred on hold. I don't know how to do it.
You know? It's also true that people in your business, people bitch and moan all the time.
I'll give you a perfect example. He had a stretch where he had like a ton of guests on, and I wasn't getting.
Yeah, go get this stuff and put it on.
So I was saying to somebody, I haven't been I can play, still get paid. I want to be on. I want to,
pretty quickly.
So I actually understand athletes who go that way.
Well, it's true in
hours. Can I get an extra light too, please? I love all the pomp and circumstance. Opera's got real stuff.
Yeah, look down there for it.
I got a floor, PBS last Friday.
Nobody ever stays awake.
Here comes everybody.
Look at the same thing differently.
You know what I ask you?
Come on, give it a chance.
What should I say? Like, how should I do?
You ever try dancing to Rigoletto?
Not my record, but I bought it.
Yeah, to some people, Amstel Light is a great tasting imported beer.
Definitely.
To others, it's a great tasting light beer. But the storylines are incredible in operas. I mean, you gotta admit, that's real genius.
A 9,000-pound lady dying of consumption, even she's bored.
Great tasting light beer or great tasting imported beer. Either way, you're talking about Amstel Light.
Amstel Light, imported by Van Munching & Company, New York, New York.
My allergy attacks usually include this incredible sinus pain and pressure. Sometimes my whole face hurts. Thank goodness I learned about Benadryl Allergy Sinus Headache.
For allergies that hurt, Benadryl Allergy Sinus Headache combines the powerful protection of the histamine blocker Benadryl with maximum strength relief for sinus pain and pressure.
I feel like myself again. What could be better than that?
All right, we'll do your cheer next.
Another breakthrough on C-SPAN.
I brought my record too, just so you know. I have it. Lou has it.
But you guys have been cute.
Good. How'd you like it?
We get that on camera.
Professional image for
Yeah, that little last little comment, went out nationally.
Yes,
no, it's what you called it.
For his new product sheets, Rick used
No. Well, no, I can't.
Oh, really? See, this is the shape you're in, right?
Color separation.
I said
the defecatory.
What did he say?
You made an Anglo-Saxon reference to the elimination process, and C-SPAN, which is carrying all this live, has now broadcasted across the entire country.
What did I say?
You said shh.
No,
life is good. I just took my 1966 gas-guzzling Lincoln out for a large styrofoam container of some Kentucky Fried Spotted Owl. And once I'm finished with my lunch, I'm going to chuck my garbage in the river and go for us.
You just can't beat that.
You're right. You're 100% right, man. This is nice. Well, perhaps I'm off base here, but it's punishment, folks. It's supposed to be cruel and otherwise it's a reward.
So do I. Everyone will look at that.
Now, for electric chairs, if it were up to me, after I beat the little bastard's ass with the wet stick, I'd spray paint it with graffiti. That will be fine. I tell you, it's just another example of what I've been saying all along. It's the end of the world as we know it, folks. The decline of modern civilization when we have the world champion race car pinata, Rodney King, receiving $3.8 million for the beating he took at the hands of the LA Police Department. $3.8 million. I don't think Mike
Tyson let Greenfield go after the next stop that we'll do it.
But at least the
We'll do a little bit of the song. We'll bomb out of it.
Precedent, folks, because
okay.
you know and I know that it won't be too long until
then we'll do
America is driving through red lights.
Will it be the second or third stop then?
Overzealous traffic.
Third? Oh, that's pretty good. Okay, don't give me the make the Bob Thomas the fourth one.
Smack me with your stick.
Just do the fourth stop then.
That's no job. In the eye again. I need me a car.
Rush.
Always whining about the injustices done to minorities, how the welfare system puts them into a vicious circle of low self-esteem and crime. I have the answer, one where everybody will be happy. Minorities don't want welfare, yet can't bring themselves to get a job. Those of us whose tax dollars are going toward the handouts are becoming increasingly more frustrated and angry with the challenge of trying to eke out a living in today's economy. So here's my solution. Let us beat them up, and then they can sue for the violation of their civil rights. Let me take a few whacks with a baseball bat. Thanks, Leroy. You can go pick up your check now. No demeaning welfare, but also no heavy lifting. And the burning cross that you know Jason.
Rush Limbaugh here in the Imus Morning program.
Very tasteful.
With an ode to.
Very tasteful. Proud of yourself?
With apologies, of course. Well, not apologies, but.
Well, yeah, of course with apologies.
Garth Brooks.
Apologies to everybody.
Goes out to Khalid Muhammad.
Again, because we haven't heard that enough, actually.
Could you just please shut up?
Mr. Greenfield makes a good point.
No, it's...
Jeff Greenfield, ABC News, is here and unwilling to give us any personal details about Peter Jennings. You know, he's an attractive guy, isn't he?
He is, yes.
You know what, because I'm comfortable enough with my
own sexuality to acknowledge the attractiveness of other men.
And I just think he's had some, well, I can talk to you about this because it would be unfair.
That's right.
But he's had some, I'll talk to Charles about it.
Fine. You mind if I like, do my day job now? Or would you
no,
like to stick around
can't you just stay one more minute?
Yes.
What? What
Wasn't,
about Peter Jennings? What?
Isn't he getting a divorce or something?
He's had there's not marital bliss at the moment in Mr. Jennings' life. I don't think we could describe it thus.
Was he chasing interns around the office, or what was it?
I don't know any of the grim details. I don't think Mr. Jennings is in the habit of chasing interns around the desk, around the office, or whatever.
He wasn't chasing Bettina Gregory. That's for damn sure.
You know, I don't think we need to see that. See, that's just absolutely gratuitous and uncalled for. No, he probably wasn't.
I don't think gratuitous and uncalled for, and therefore it fits in well with the rest of the programming on the Imus in the Morning show.
I would like to take this opportunity to thank Jeff Greenfield from ABC's World News Tonight for graciously agreeing to
ruin his career.
To spare him further embarrassment now.
To accept a free limo ride.
Oh, yeah, that's a real incentive. A free limo and McDonald's coffee in the front seat. I'm just so grateful. I don't know what to say. Man,
how's this new show you're doing now?
We did a couple of pilots. In fact, we had invited a member of your staff to think about joining, but he chose never to return our phone calls. So
who did you invite?
I'll just let the. I'll just let that pass.
Charles?
I'll just let that pass. We taped him about a week or so ago, and now
could Charles make some extra money? Like he needs it, but.
Well, I guess if we ever went on the air, he could pick up whatever scale is.
What were they going to have you do?
Just participate in whatever the round table was.
Conversation with a little attitude.
He'd wear the white sheet at the table.
I would represent a certain segment of the political spectrum.
Charles politically is somewhere between Jesse Helms and Pat Robertson.
That's a terrible thing to say.
We were trying to dispel the notion that it was some bunch of New York liberals, and God knows McCord would dispel that.
So are you just exclusively now on World News Tonight?
No, I wander, doing some more stuff for Nightline, because Nightline's a great place to work because you get space and time. So I'll wind up wherever I wind up. But I have been blessed in my whole life in television with doing pretty much what's interesting.
With the exception of today.
Well, into each life. This I'm going to look back on and say, the graph was kind of chugging along okay, and then one day, as a favor to somebody I like and who I enjoy being with, I agreed to come out live.
And it's over Niagara in the barrel.
I think by this afternoon I'll be lining up for food stamps. But it's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much, bro.
See you about.
Jeff Greenfield here on the Imus One program. And now live from El Paso, Texas. My brother, Fred Imus, who I love a lot and like a lot. Yeah. Good morning, Fred.
I know. Good morning. It looks like you got a haircut.
Well, what do you mean?
Well, it looks like your hair is a lot shorter.
Well, yeah, it is.
I can, if you want me to, get some guys together and go whip that barber.
Well, what's the matter with
you and Cokie Roberts been to the same hairdresser.
First of all, my hair
I heard you talking to Cokie. She always breathe that hard.
Well,
I tell you, man, that's one hot woman.
Yes, she's an attractive woman, Fred.
That's the only reason I watched the Brinkley, because she's on there. Like Brinkley. And who's the guy with the roadkill on his head?
The guy with the roadkill on his head, Fred, is Sam Donaldson.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So how are sales?
I'm home watching the show.
Oh, you are?
Waiting to see if they put my name up there. You know how they put your name on who's on?
Yeah.
They haven't done that yet.
No, they don't have the graphic that says stupid yet.
Unfunny.
They don't have the graphic that says unfunny dork.
Unfunny brother.
All this talk about Bosnia and Clinton's policy.
Yeah.
Well, how can we expect him to have any policy in Bosnia when it's obvious that he's going to stand on the sidelines and let these third world geeks in Singapore whip an American citizen with a cane?
Well, they should whip that kid.
No, they should. If he won't stand up for one American, he won't stand up for any Americans. And how can we expect him to stand up for anybody? He should resign and get on that great dog and go back to Arkansas.
Now, here we go again. Now, my brother, obviously, I'm the alcoholic in the family, but here we go. My brother obviously is drinking again.
No, but I just don't believe American citizens should be abused anywhere in the world.
Well, what do you suppose? What should the president do about this kid in Singapore?
He should call that pile of cow dung that's the president of Singapore and said, listen, you little four-eyed geek, you put a cane to this kid, and we're going to put the 101st Airborne Division in downtown Singapore and find you and put one of them canes where the sun don't shine.
Imus in the morning. Always the real thing, yeah. Wherever there's a pool, there's always...
Fred, we had to go to a stop set there. Okay, I love you. Bye.
I think Fred did a little preparation.
He's actually right, you know that? I smoked a cigarette this morning, Charles.
Well aware I am, man. Already.
What can I do?
Nothing.
But I'm not going to smoke anymore, though. I have one more I'm going to smoke.
No, you give it to me. No, save that.
Well, then we've got to get Breen on. Is this set now? I had another minute there.
No, you didn't. This is a 5-minute set. It's the third set. And we're going to do the 4-minute set that we have left over in the next hour.
Okay, well, so, Charles, you introduce yourself there. And I'll go rest. And then I'd like to get Breen on again here. How many times have you been on, Breen?
Oh, a couple.
Have you? The one? But of course, here's what you did. You ruined this for yourself.
It was going strong until I made my gratuitous remarks.
To Ruby Lincoln's Outpost, all with free unlimited mileage. Just book Availability is limited at participating airports. Rates not available.
How do you give it up when you're 50?
Better than you.
No, you're not.
Better than you.
Nobody does it exactly like
Come in at 9:40, will you?
You look a lot better than you.
Well, I had a hard life.
So did I.
Too long, too.
Oh, God. Got him. I know. He's going to laugh at me.
Let me scoot by you.
65 days. 16%. I know. Now, is that the HP scan jet? Well, the HP scan jet is the price of under $599. Sorry, that's not my file.
Sue, I lost it. Can you punch it out again?
Will it print? This is $99. Built-in software to make scanning easier. See your yellow pages from the Hewlett Packard dealer nearest you, or call 1-800-SCAN-JET for a free video. You know how I always...
It's just so stupid. Unbelievable. Good grief.
I got up at year 5.
Excuse me, not baseball. A pitcher. A pitcher. Yes. Yes. No. He's got to be a first baseman. Yeah. First base, Heineken. First base. Number 1.
Coming up.
Take me up to the beer.
No celebrity spokesman. No retired athlete.
Are you talking to me, Louie?
Eileen, next.
Sorry.
And we got a golfer who shot a hole in one. You know, you get hole in one, number 1. It could be.
Intro myself. Good morning, I'm Eileen Marchese Cohen. We have trouble in Queens, and this report sponsored by the New York Times. If you want Pulitzer Prize-winning coverage of the metro area, you want the New York Times. No comics, no gossip, just the best metro coverage in New York. On the westbound LIE Service Road, we have a 2-car accident involving a box truck at the Elmhurst gas tanks. As a result, volume slow on the LIE Service Road, as well as the LIE proper into that area. Eastbound Interboro Parkway, also extra heavy with rubbernecking police activity at Metropolitan Avenue. As a result, it's also extra slow on the westbound Grand Central Parkway into the area. And if you're heading to the Lincoln Tunnel, a 35-minute delay, lots of heavy volume. 20 minutes in at the Holland Tunnel, only 5 to 10 at the George Washington Bridge. We had some trouble southbound New Jersey Turnpike outer roadway at interchange 13 in Elizabeth. A serious accident was there. It has been cleared and all lanes are now reopened. We have alternate side in effect citywide, and in Brooklyn, Uptown D trains are running on the B tracks, Stillwell Avenue to DeKalb. I'm Eileen Marchese Cohen for the 9X Mobile Fan Highway Patrol.